Hello guys, and welcome to 2022 and my first video for the year. I'm going to start right away by talking about the PMP exam. Many of you have attempted to take the exam last year and maybe the year before, but you know last year is when the exam changed. And so those who rushed to finish it in 2020 did so, and those who didn't attempted it in 2021 or have been most likely putting it off. There are many reasons why we don't get to take an exam, but the end result is one. If you need this PMP certification, you have to have it and you have to take the exam at some point. So what I'm going to do in this video is remind you of what you need to do to get yourself certified this year and maybe in the next few months. So let's start with the most important thing. The exam is still based on PMP Book 6. All right. It doesn't matter what people tell you. I know PMP Book 7 is out. The exam is still based on PMP Book 6. And the reason I say that is the exam content outline hasn't changed. All right. So whatever we had in 2021 is the same thing we have right now. And therefore, even if PMP Book 7 is released, it doesn't mean the questions are going to automatically change. I know many of you will go and read forums, will watch videos here and there, just like this video, and may get different opinions, right, of what the exam is about. And there are people who magnify it and make it such a problem that it changed and it's 2022 and it's going to be PMP Book 7. I can assure you, you do not need to worry about PMP Book 7 right this second. So if you want to take the exam, you need to study PMP Book 6. Now, before we continue talking about PMP Book 6, the structure changed last year, right? And many of you are already aware of that. So what changed is that the exam used to be all technical, and there were a lot of, let's say, I'll refer to them as technical for now, but I'll expand on it a little bit later. There was a lot of calculations and so on. The exam changed, and the new structure of the exam now is 42% based on people, 8% based on business value, and 50% on the technical side. Now, the technical side would be like things like requirements, WBS, the scheduling, and so on, and maybe risk management. Those are the basics. Those are the technical, right? And the rest, half of it, is based on people and business. So what can you expect on the exam and how should you study? Number one, you need to study based on PMP Book 6. So you can either read PMP Book 6 beginning to end, all the knowledge areas, they still apply. The exam is still going to be based on those. Or you can watch my 45 videos, which cover PMP Book 6. All right. In addition, you need to read the Agile Practice Guide. I have not made a video on the Agile Practice Guide, but that came with PMP Book 6 when it was released. It's a small book at the end of it that was added on if you had the paper copy. If you have the PDF, then it's towards the end. Now scroll through the pages on the PDF. Towards the end, you'll see the Agile Practice Guide. All right, that you need to read because in the Agile Practice Guide, you'll learn a lot of Agile terminologies. If you do not come from an IT background, these are an area of weakness for you. So you need to know things like sprints, scrum, stand-ups, and so on. You have to have an idea about these things. So that is very important. Read the Agile Practice Guide, read PMP Book 6, or watch my videos that cover PMP Book 6 cover to cover, okay? You need to focus, and there's going to be a lot of focus on soft skills. And I'm going to read it from a list here. Soft skills such as, how to work with stakeholders, what is business value, the people, you're going to be asked questions about people situations. You are interacting or engaging with certain stakeholders, and this is what happens. So what do you do? So this is the people side of things. You're going to be asked questions about teams, ground rules, virtual teams, how to work with teams, how to agree on the work that is going to be done in a specific project with the team, right? How do you do conflict resolution? And how about your interpersonal skills? Servant leadership. Servant leadership is a key word here. You need to know it. And communication overall. So these things like servant leadership and teams and so on, you're going to find them in the Agile Practice Guide. You're also going to learn a lot about Agile in the Agile Practice Guide. So PMP Book 6, Agile Practice Guide, right? Um, the things that you do not want to worry about that used to be there up to 2020 would be things like earned value questions. Yes, that's a relief. You really don't have to sweat it out, right? All you want to know maybe is CPI. You need to know cost performance index, which is earned value over actual cost, right? So you need to know that. If you knew them from before earned value, it doesn't hurt you. But if you don't know them now and you feel like that's an area that is difficult for you, do not hold back on taking the exam. That's really not going to affect you that much, right? You're not going to see, I've actually had on my channel people pass the exam just by watching the 45 videos, right? And when I asked them, what'd you do for the Agile Practice Guide? They were like, oh, I didn't know I had to read that, but they passed the exam, right? So that tells you that the exam isn't much different than before. The only thing that is different is that it's actually easier than it used to be because there's less number questions. And many have told me that they barely saw any questions related to numbers. And I know there's a lot of websites and forums and things like that that talk about, practice questions that are all number oriented. Do not sweat those out, okay? Don't worry about earned value. You should know what CPI stands for. You should know what earned value stands for. Very minimal information that you need to know. You also probably don't have to worry about Monte Carlo and all the details, Monte Carlo simulation and risk management. Anything that is too number oriented or technical like that, don't sweat it, right? Don't worry about it. That's not going to affect you on the exam. The exam has become lighter in the sense that they're focusing on the management side of project management. So as a project manager, you're managing the business value for your stakeholders, right? So people, business value constitute half of the exam. Technicals, and you have to think, PMP Book 6, what could be technical there? They're going to extract some key high-level things that a PM needs to know, and that's your 50%. So when you study, do not get hung up on the numbers, do not get hung up on charts, do not get hung up on Monte Carlo, earned value, finish to start, start to start, float, free float. You should know what these things are, but you shouldn't overkill it, right? It's not a very stringent requirement. You may get the whole exam with no number questions. That's what I'm hearing from people. You might get one or two, all right? So you can study with the idea that you are thinking about the people, the business, the management side, the team side, and the organization that is sponsoring this one project. And you need to know things about Sprint, Scrum, and you can probably find YouTube videos that would easily explain the sprints and so on. So the Agile methodology can probably be explained in 10, 15 minutes. Just watch them, they exist, or read the Agile Practice Guide. The other thing that I want to remind you to read or remember for the exam would be project management methodologies, phases, life cycles. These are very basic, right? You need to know, adaptive, predictive, the terms waterfall and so on. And you also need to know how life cycles work, overlapping, sequential, and so on, because there's going to be lots of questions on, you working with a team, whether in a sprint, which is agile, or you're working in a waterfall, and then, something happens or a change happens, and then what do you do? When do you update, for example, your stakeholders? Do you need to notify them? Those are people questions, but they are tied to life cycles or maybe when benefits are expected, from certain cycles in your project. Some of you might benefit from practice questions. So after you've studied, you've read PMP Book 6, the Agile Practice Guide, or maybe you watched my 45 videos, then you want to practice with some questions to get a sense for what you might be facing. And that's where you'll see questions related to Agile, people, your team, ground rules, understanding of what you're working on, sprints, Scrum, so on. That's when you get a real sense for what the exam may look like. I've put on Udemy a set of 5 full mock exams of 180 questions each. If you want, you can go check it out. I'm going to put the link down in the bottom. If you're a member of my channel, you can get that for free. Just reach out to me if you don't see the code. If you're a subscriber and you want a discount code, just let me know. And every so often, I put these codes out so you can get a discount. Many people have given positive feedback on the questions on Udemy. They feel they're realistic and they helped on the exam. And others have done well with just the videos themselves or by reading PMP Book 6. Obviously, the people that reach out to me and that I'm aware of are the people who have come to my channel and watched the videos. So you could just watch the 45 videos, read the Agile Practice Guide, practice with some mock exams, and you will do just fine on the exam. Just to sum it up, we're still on PMP Book 6. Don't sweat out the numbers like earned value, Monte Carlo, and or the charts and so on. The heavily technical items, don't sweat them out. They're not going to be on the exam. And focus on learning terminologies like sprint, scrum, and so on, and the things that go along with that, and the team side, the servant leadership, right? Those are the things you need to know. You need to know the term benefits because that's the business value, and you will do just fine on the exam. Everything else that you read on the internet about PMP Book 7 and so on is not true. All right. Good luck on your exam. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to help you out. That's all for now. My name is Edward Shihab. Happy to publish this first video of 2022, and I wish you the best of luck if you're taking the exam soon. Take care. Goodbye.